up there. Good morning. Thank you for, oh, look, I like the green. I haven't seen the green one with Realty One Group. That's pretty. So we've got some folks here, and I'm actually, I'll move this way a little bit so I don't look like I'm turning every time I try to say something to people. I got better angle here. I'm not looking at that. I'm trying to see this teeny tiny screen. Uh, so it is April, and we are going to talk about ARMLS. For a long time, I used to call it ARMLS, which we're not supposed to do because it's Arizona Regional and then MLS. I don't know how many of you know, but the state of Arizona has many MLSs. So the ARMLS system recently incorporated the Sedona area, Verde Valley, Sedona regional MLS. So they became a part of ARMLS. So when I do my reports on statistics, understand when you go into ARMLS, you'll see the mapping program that'll show you how many homes are for sale. If you don't open that up and realize that it's also including Sedona, Cottonwood, and that whole little area of the Verde Valley, those numbers are included in our stats. That's why when I do our numbers, I always narrow it down to at least Maricopa County. I know a lot of us have sold in Pinal County, but trying to focus on that Maricopa County makes it a little easier. But today we're going to talk about system changes. If you have not looked at ARMLS yet today, or seen the email, when you open that up, you will find that you cannot log in. So let's talk about some of what they have been working on. Now, I'm going to talk about different things. And by the way, all of these slides are from ARMLS. So I didn't create anything new. Scoot over so you can see the screen. I didn't create anything new. Is that okay? Does this need that? Okay. This is just to explain what is coming next. There's a lot on deck, not just the change in your login, that is happening. And some of us have been in real estate long enough. If you were here, I would be hearing the groan when you get to one of these things that I did not realize until I was pulling this stuff up. So this is talking about the roadmap of what is changing and why they're making these ongoing improvements. I think many of us will question the word improvements. As we all know, change can be challenging, right? So I get that. I do believe on the other end, we will have some good things, but there's already been a lot of grumbling about some of this, including what's coming in 2026. Your Flex MLS account just got safer. So ARMLS subscribers will have the ability to assign a pass key to log in to Flex MLS. I believe if you use a password, you have to do a two-factor authentication so that they're going to go to your phone and text you a number that you then have to input. For those of us that are on ARMLS literally all day long, and it boots us off multiple times. This should be a lot of fun, but I understand it. This is not surprising in light of all of the challenges and online security issues we've had. So this is not surprising. Passkeys are ways to get in without having to do that two-factor authentication. So you can take advantage of that, or you can do a password with the other. For those that have iPhones or Androids, I'm sure you can use your phone for that stuff. My computer does not have the Face ID, Touch ID. So you end up with a PIN, which I always find kind of interesting, is you've gone from this long, complicated password to a teeny tiny PIN that I'm like, well, couldn't somebody memorize my PIN? Like that seems, and a lot of people use the same PIN over and over. It's like, yeah, find another PIN, folks. So if you have the thumbprint, and of course it's great on the phone. I use that all the time, right? Here, look at me, right? It'll come through, right? But on the computers, not so many computers have the biometric information, but it is possible. I'm not going to read these things, folks. These are all on ARMLS. I'm just going to highlight some of this stuff because actually there is more than just the login information that I want you to be aware of today. I will go through some of it. And this is just talking about the passkeys and why they're trying to make these more phishing proof. As hey, I was the one that failed my fishing expedition last month with the lovely birthday, or not birthday, Easter dinner apparently that I was inviting everybody to. So look, we all can get snagged by this, and we get caught up getting into this program all the time. They don't want us caught onto these phishing schemes. So please understand that. And please, just if you have done this before, part of the reason all these are changing, please do not share your ARMLS password with somebody. If you are working on Teams, and you need somebody to have access to your ARMLS, we have the ability to put them on as a TC or have sharing opportunities. Mm-hmm. The beauty of that is if I'm working on your account, Gail, it's going to show that I'm mirroring you, so I can log in as you, but it will show that it's me. So any keystrokes I put in, anything I'm changing, it's still going to point to me. So we know who was in there playing around. If you give me your ID, then I'm logging in as you. And if I make mistakes on there, we don't know if it's you or me. Yeah. Right. And for those that are not aware, I mean, you have a mistake in ARMLS, it's pretty much a quick $500 fine. Mm-hmm. We had somebody that got fined for opening a lockbox accidentally. Called the agent immediately. Agent didn't care, filed a report. And we'll get to that a little bit later. But just the bottom line of that is it was truly a mistake. And I'm not even sure they went into the house. They just opened the lockbox, right? And realized it was the wrong lockbox. They pleaded to try and get that waived, and they still got fined $250. So you understand that. So please try to create a passkey if you want to do that. Obviously, if you have face or fingerprint on your computer, it's much easier. So there is a whole FAQ page. I recommend, and this will connect to the whole dashboard, but this is talking about why they're doing this. This changes today. So I thought it was appropriate to talk about it. The new login will be used that requires set up a new password or create a passkey. So your password you had is gone as of this morning. I did try it at midnight. They hadn't changed it at 1 a.m, but this morning it had changed. So, I'm always up at 1 a.m. So I was not happy. I was up till 2:30, but yes. So where will I log in? So this is going to be available at armls-.com beginning today. So normally we were logging in to armls.flexmls.com. This now shifts over to armls-.com. Okay. You don't need the passkey. You can continue to use the password, but you will have the two-factor authentication. So please remember that if your phone is not with you, you have to have access to that email so you can send it to your email and do it that way if they'll allow you to do that. I haven't looked at that. So if it doesn't have a camera or fingerprint, you can use the passkey with a device pin. So, or your phone, right? So that will work. No, you're not required to use biometrics. There are plenty of computers that don't have them. They wouldn't require that. So if you forgot something, you can still forget your password, but you probably are going to have to do two-factor authentication to get into that if you're resetting your password. You have to do passwords of 8 or more characters, including 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase, a number, and a special character. So keep that in mind before you get to your computer. If you're going to put a new password in, try to think of what that password is before you get there so you know you can comply with those character requirements. They were allowing you to pre-register. That has come and gone, folks, so just do it today. If for some reason it is not working, contact our ARMLS support. That 480-921-777 number has been the number there for a long time. My guess is they are very busy this morning. So this does not affect your clients or their client logins. So that has nothing to do with this. There is a new dashboard which you can customize and save it as your favorites. So have you seen the new dashboard? Okay, that showed up, I think, this morning. So I don't know who Solid Earth is. That's fine. They're whoever's setting this up. Any of your saved bookmarks, shortcuts, and favorites are still going to be used to access ARMLS products. So you'll first log into the subscriber dashboard and then into your tile to get to what you're looking for that product. Again, 480-921-7777 to get a hold of ARMLS. Now, let's talk about how to set up your new ARMLS login. Again, I did not create these slides, folks. If you get lost, you do not have to use my slide deck. Just go to ARMLS. This is actually a button, how to set it up. So you can see all of this to figure out how to proceed today, and it will walk you through it. But basically, when you go in, you have to click Forgot Password. That gets you into this new system, okay? And you click on the little words, Forgot Password. You'll see this little sign in. It looks new. It's a whole new setup, right? And then you enter your ARMLS agent ID associated with your account. And then you send a reset link, okay? Click Send Reset Link. And then go to your email and click the Reset My Password link. Okay? So your email is going to pop up with this. You're going to have to hit Reset Your Password. And then by clicking the link, you'll be brought to your dashboard account page where you can update your password or add a passkey. Now, what's going to be funny is a lot of you may be doing that on your phone. So make sure if you're doing it on your phone, you're finishing this off on your phone and giving yourself something to work with so that you do have access to it later. But you can obviously do passkeys or the password, right? Then at the end, you have to put update. If you don't click update, you're going to have to redo this process again because it won't lock it in. Okay. And again, the phone number is right at the bottom there. Well, I put it there, but it is actually the next slide of this thing. So I am assuming that. All right. Any questions on that before I move on?
I do have a question.
Yeah.
I have in my toolbar at the top, I've saved the ARMLS. If I
Flex MLS, yes. That will take you to it right now.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
It won't take you to the dashboard, but it will take you to just the Flex MLS.
Okay.
I'm guessing they want us to go through the dashboard. I haven't seen the dashboard yet, and I will show you the dashboard. It's one of the things on here. It may not be fully functional yet, so they may still just have a short changing through there. My guess is if that is no longer working, they will push it to the dashboard is probably what they will do it behind the thing. But it worked for me this morning. Good morning. Okay, so make sure you go in and change your password or put in a passkey. So like many companies, ARMLS has created an AI assistant that they've called ARDI. I don't know what the DI stands for. I'm guessing AR stands for Arizona Regional. Let's see if the next screen actually tells us what it means. I don't know what DI stands for. If anybody figures it out, let me know. So ARDI or RD, I'm going to call her RD, I don't know, is your new wingman to help you with where do I and how do I answers immediately. I thought it was kind of cute. I played with this a little bit. They don't have very much on there right now. They only have a few questions, but they're working to get more and more, usual things that people will be asking and have answers to it for you. So they're going to be trying to have this available. So when there are those high tech moments when ARMLS is getting a ton of calls, that you're able to go online and ask a few questions and be able to get quick answers. You'll see that there's a meet Artie there on the bottom and a chat with Artie. So that was supposed to be up above. So, oh no, actually, this is to show you last night when I was on here, right? Of course, their support was closed because they're only there during their normal business hours for their chat or phone or email support from 5:30 to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Love how it's at 5 p.m., folks. Why do they end at 5 p.m.? Like we're trying to do stuff. And then that's also Saturday, but Sunday it's only 10 to 2. So the reason that they created Artie is that you have an ability to ask questions outside those hours and hopefully get an answer. The more they build this up, and honestly, the more you go in and ask questions that they see that they need to answer, they will build that up. And that's the thing about AI. The more questions that get asked, the more that they work to have a way to respond. If you need a pen, there's some right behind me in the door. So this is what the screen looks like. There's not much there. The scroll down on the other side literally only has one more line. So right now it says need help with your ARMLS dashboard login. What services do you offer and what are the ARMLS dues this year? I did not click what services do you offer, but I did click, oops, I did, oh no. Okay, I thought I put those in there. I did click what the ARMLS dues were. So that was interesting to see that. And I did click the dashboard login. That's actually what I used to show you some of that process. So it's in the drawer right there on the right. Right. On the right. There you go.
There.
So for those that don't know, this just was kind of fun. How many knew there was actually a calculator to calculate your days on market, and ARMLS provides it to us? Actually, it's on your own computer. So I thought I would throw that in here because it just, I hadn't seen this until last week, had nothing to do with this. But I did see this earlier and I thought, wow, that is cool information that I never knew you could do, because I'm called all the time to ask about, how many days do I have till I can reset the listing so all of the days on market change? Does anybody know that off the top of their head? How many days are required? It used to be 90. What is it? Nobody knows. Okay. Anybody online want to unmute and throw out a number? How many days does it take to reset a listing to get rid of days on market?
45.
So it's not. Say that again.
45.
Did somebody say 40? I thought somebody said 45. Yes,
45.
it's 45 days. It's 45 days. So this little tool allows you to calculate days on market because it can be tricky. You need to make sure there are 45 days it is actually off the market. So don't count 45, you need to count 46 because it's got to be off the market for 45 days. Now, there are a couple ways to do this. There are two types of days on market calculations. It's the CDOM is cumulative days on market. That's however many realtors, real estate companies that seller or owner has gone to. That's cumulative days on market that it's been live in the MLS. ADOM is agent days on market. That's the number of days the property's been listed with a specific agent, right? So one of the trickiest things is to reset the days on market. The listing must be an off-market status of either canceled or expired for a full 45 days. So make sure when you're counting that you get all 45 days. This is really nice because this will tell you this. The property that can be relisted as a new listing on or after the 46th day from the off-market date. Below are a few tools to use this to determine the relist date. So you can go to a website called timeanddate.com. Don't worry, your computer also has it, so you don't have to keep that unless, well, if you have a PC, it does. Mac, you might have to go to timeanddate.com. So you can go to add days, enter a start date, which is the listing's off market date. So if you went off market on the 23rd, you would put in 4/23/26. And then in the add subtract, you're going to input 46 days or more. Just don't do 45, right? You got to get that full 45th day. And then calculate new date, and it will tell you what that is, right? So you're going to add days 46, right? So all of that comes out there. Is this going to show me where it is on your thing? It's not. Okay, I'll show you in just a second. So there you go, 2/1, add 46 days, and it's going to say March 19th. Which is kind of helpful because February only has 28 days. You're like, oh, wait, how many days are there? I used to count, like count it up, right? In Windows, it is going to show us this. In Windows, search for your calculator. This is kind of cool, folks. I never even knew there were more calculators on my computer. So you go in and you go to the three lines on the left of your calculator, and you can pull it down, and one of the options is a date calculation. Okay, here. Let me do this for a second, folks. Hang on. Let me show this to you live. Let me go. I don't know why I don't have calculator on here, but so I want the calculator. Can you guys online see my calculator? Hopefully. Yes?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
So click this little bar on the left, these 3 bars, so you can see this, and there's a date calculation in your calculator on your PC. So let's say today's April 28th. So if you took something off market, and then we want to add contract dates or add and subtract days, right? So we want to type 46. 46 days is going to tell us that it is June. God, I can't even read that. June. Somebody tell me what that says. 13th? June 13th. Sorry, it's really small on this little screen. Does everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
So again, you have all these different calculators on your screen. You can have a standard scientific, graphing, programmer, and date calculator. So now you know you have that right there. I'm going to go back to sharing my slideshow. Where'd we go? Right? So that's what I did. I went on my computer's calculator and did a date calculation. So just since we're talking about this, because this is what comes up when we are doing these, I get a call from an agent saying, hey, I want to take my listing off market. No, they actually tell me they want to cancel the listing because they need to clear the days on the market. And so I say, I think you just want to take it off of ARMLS. You don't want to cancel the listing. You want to keep the listing as a private listing while it is off market, okay? Sign has to come down. Any outside advertising, any Facebook posts, anything like that, all that has to come down, right? But you can continue to market within Realty One Group. You can go on a One Exclusives, our Facebook page, for off-market listings, and you can certainly talk to your other realtors in this office and other offices. It is off-market. It is off ARMLS. You are not canceling the listing. Now, that does not mean you don't need to warn your poor owner, seller, that they are going to be hounded the minute it goes to canceled on ARMLS. Because what does that trigger? The vultures, right? Everybody knocking on the door saying, I can sell your home. Funny, where have you been the last 180 days? But they will show up en masse to your client's house on their phone, on their email. Don't ask me where they get it. They get them. So please warn them that that's going to happen. They simply need to stay. I am still under a listing contract. I do not need anything from you. You are welcome to call my listing agent. Here's their phone number, right? They can give your number out. Don't worry about it, right? You're not advertising. They called trying to pounce, and by the way, they're not going to call you anyway. So because they don't have a buyer. We all know that. So, but this is an option for you. You maintain that listing during that time period. Okay. So, any questions? Did I just stun everybody? Because I was stunned last week when I figured this out. No? Yay? Pretty cool. New tool. Okay, Mac. So the built-in calculator on Mac does not have this function. You can install an app from the App Store, search for a date calendar calculator. There are plenty of paid and free apps to choose from, or you can go to that earlier website that I said you could do that. Okay. All right. Here is a little bit of information about this new dashboard, right? So they're trying to put all of the ARMLS tools in one location. So obviously most of us use it to search property, but there is a lot regarding what we currently use with Monsoon or CurbView to look up public records, generate stats, and find rental property. The dashboard is gonna be your central location, right? So keep that in mind. And you only need one set of credentials to log into all of that. This is up and running today. When we get done here, I'm going to try to pull that up, but I have not done my new login, so we'll see how much time we have. So once you've logged in, you'll have a one-click access to products connected to what they're calling their single sign-on, including Flex MLS, right? The aligned showings is now through there. I mean, I don't know. I always went through Flex to get to it, but I'm sure you can still do that. I hope so. Dashboard makes it easier to access the tools you use every day. This is an idea of what some of it looks like. Let me see. Yeah, I can't open that up any larger. But so you'll be able to put your favorites on the top. So Flex MLS, CurbView, it looks like ARMLS. Is that ARMLS login? I'm not sure what that one is. Super web on the right, which is, does everybody know what that is? That's your E key, right? I don't know what the other one is there. I can't read it on this screen. If anybody else can. Hello, guys. So there are lots of additional products here. How many of you tried the Kubi Casa? Has anybody done the Kubi Casa? Was it successful?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of a trick. It's sort of walking
Through the home?
Yeah, you have to have your camera and you have to head a direction. Be careful not to get two corners, that kind of stuff. So a little trick to it, but yeah, it's great. Then you have different levels of purchase, so you can get to the basic plan, or I think they have like a 3D, and so they can add some cool things.
So, and if you don't want to do that, many of the photographers offer a 2D floor plan for like, under $100. So if you want that, but Kubicasa is free unless you want to, buy a different version of the floor plan, but it's there. There are other things in here that you can access. And so I would suggest you go explore these. So again, it says you'll be able to get to SuperWeb or Kubicasa. Obviously, you can get to ARMLS.com so that you can pay your bill when it's due, because this is where we go to pay it. I don't know. For those that are new, Flex MLS never had the billing in there. The billing was always at ARMLS.com. So there are training classes. If you have never explored the training classes in ARMLS.com, I highly recommend it. Okay. Little bit of changes with the MLS forms, but we'll see those. Is there a question? Oh, somebody's got a mic on. Let's see. We'll get that mic off. Okay. So, just to be on the compliance side here, since that's my job, I found it very interesting that they actually have information on compliance. So who knows that ARMLS is the one that is the overseer of many of the fines that are out there, right? Of you not performing correctly, or for instance, opening a lockbox that you shouldn't have opened, right? So please understand that they're the ones that issue these fines, and there's a whole set of regulations for it. If you're not familiar with that, again, go to armls.com. There's a whole section that says compliance. So if you've never looked at it, I highly recommend you go look at that, because if you blink, you can be charged $500 if you blink wrong. So that's your responsibility to know those rules. And some of them have obviously changed in the recent years, right? So there's a whole online rules course that you can go to. This is called Checkmate, which is an automated, responsive compliance experience for you. Just what I want is a compliance experience. Yay. But it allows you to understand real-time visibility into compliance cases. If you have had a filing against you, this will show you what is happening with that file as it progresses, right? So you'll understand faster case resolution, hopefully fewer errors by manual processing, and implementation of rule updates when policies change. So I just thought it would be interesting to see what were the top violations of 2025. Anybody want to make a guess? And I haven't looked at this, so I have no idea. Any guesses?
The ADA.
That wouldn't have been in 2025.
Wrong.
And that's not, it's not ARMLS. Wrong address?
I think that was one of them.
Wrong address? I would think it would be
No photo.
no photo. There's one. You have to have a photo, correct? All right, let's see what it says. So the top 10 violations, including self-reported. So if they made if you made a mistake on ARMLS and had to correct it, that is a non-penalty. You went in and put something in, right? Assessor's number is incorrect. What do we sell a property by, folks? 123 Main Street?
No.
No, we don't. And I just had to deal with an agent that had a property address that the address that the post office used was not even the correct address for the property that the community used. And it had nothing to do with the assessor number. And I said, as long as you have the assessor number, it's fine. But go ahead and make note in the contract, adjust it to show that there are actually two addresses. And it literally was an address and a unit number and a different address and different unit number for the same property. So it was just, I think that the community was shifted when it was being built. And so they had it was a 2 number off for the main number for the property. Text or watermarks on photos and media. So you cannot have your identification on those photos. A lot of people like to get that it's, Melissa Schwartz or copyrighted by MS or, copyrighted by Realty One Group. You can't have that on an MLS photo. That is a violation, right? So there were 463 in 2025, 725 in 2024. That's a lot of violations in my mind. I know there are a lot of us, I know there are a lot of listings, but still. Sold price incorrect. So why would the sold price, do you think, might be wrong?
They didn't change it.
They didn't change it, right? Got renegotiated as a part of the bins or something changed. And the listing agent did not go in and change it. Guess who is probably calling and filing that complaint?
Broker?
No.
Or
The buyer.
the buyer. The buyer. Yeah.
The buyer.
Yeah.
That's saying, hey, wait a minute, this is wrong. So, okay, around 400 both years, right? Both 24 and 25.
A question for you.
Yes.
If they paid concessions, the seller paid concessions, does that have to be reflected in the new price?
It's not reflected in the new price. It's reflected in the items below the price that
Gotcha.
say there's a seller concession.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that going to be filed against you? Probably not. How accurate are those numbers? Poorly inaccurate, right?
Yeah.
They're horrible, sadly. Yeah.
Is ARMLS seeking these out and finding these violations themselves, or are all these reported by other people?
They're reported by other people. Mostly agents, but I'm guessing a buyer is probably calling somebody saying that this is wrong. They may be calling their agent saying, this is wrong, I want this is corrected. I can't correct it after it's closed, folks. I mean, I have a small window to go in and make a change. And once that's done, somebody's got to go to ARMLS and get it changed. And if the buyer is hounding you saying, this is the wrong price, I want this corrected, somebody's got to call ARMLS to get that changed. So that's getting changed because the buyer wants it changed. You're going to be calling saying this is wrong. The other agent can't fix it at that point either.
What's the penalty fee for that?
I don't know. Probably $500. I'm gonna bet a lot of them are $500 these days.
Yeah.
Okay, the last 10 special listing conditions, right? Is it in a retirement community? Is it under is it REO owned? Is it, there's so many on that special listing conditions, right? That's a non-penalty though, so that's nice. There's no penalty there. Construction status, gosh, I don't know why you would have, it's kind of scary that from 2024 to 2025, you went from 10 to 338. So I don't know what changed there. That's very bizarre to me. Ownership, who owns the property, the ownership names is my guess. That's a non-penalty, right? If you're having to change from John Smith to Jonathan Smith, they're not fining you for that, okay? So selling agent incorrect, that is a penalty.
Where's owners?
Ownership is on ARMLS. It's who owns the property. And some people still
Just
write
put
to the,
occupant, like some people put that, is that?
please don't do that now, because what happens is that auto feeds to the person setting up their contract. And so all of a sudden you have occupant buying the property or client of Realty One Group buying the property, and the agent doesn't go through and correct it. And all of a sudden you've got a contract now that has some buyer that isn't real.
Excuse me, so
Yeah.
now you have to put a buyer's name?
No, we're talking about the seller, the owner of the property selling it. Right. Yes, you would put the buyer's name on the purchase contract, but this is talking about the listing. Yeah. So selling agent incorrect. I'm not quite sure how that happens. I'm guessing it's Teams. I'm not sure. I don't know how the selling agent, if they've been the one inputting this, how that's done wrong. Closing information. This often happens. Close of escrow over and over and over. If you are the listing agent and close of escrow starts getting pushed out and you're not sure it's going to close on that date, push it out further and put an alert on your phone to say, check if we're closing today. If not, push out ARMLS, because so often it goes to close of escrow. Now, that can be corrected in the first, I think it's 48 hours. The problem is it's out there. So if your price tag is, I don't know, $20,000 below list price, the public has now seen that you closed for $20,000 below list price. Now you can reactivate it, but it still stays that it closed for that price on that date. Right? So if you go back on market, you just played your cards. Does that make sense? So please, it's critical you track what your close of escrow date is and take care of moving that out if in fact you're not closing on time, right? Okay, so kind of interesting loan type. Just had an agent call, buyers switching from conventional to FHA. Anybody have a guess why they're doing that?
Interest
What
rate.
is one big difference between conventional and yes, what else?
Down payment.
Down payment.
Interest
Fee.
rate, down payment.
Interest rate down payment. Well, so how would you be getting money for an interest rate down payment?
Yep.
Concessions, right? Barb, are you on? I muted you. You may not be.
I am, yes.
Okay, so why would somebody switch from conventional to FHA in the middle of the process?
If they were going to get more than 3% in concessions.
Absolutely, right? They needed more than 3% because something on the property required more concessions from the seller. And as somebody else just pointed out, they could use it for an interest rate buy down. They don't have the cash in hand to make the repair needed, but they'll be able to save money and do the repair shortly, hopefully. But it will save them a lot more money in the long run by doing that interest rate buy down. And as a listing agent, you're cringing that somebody's going to FHA in the middle of the process when they were doing conventional. But, you know, it does make sense why they would want to do that. And you just have to hope that it'll praise and you can close on time, et cetera. They're actually supposed to close early. So hopefully that's true, but that is exactly why you might look to do that. So again, loan type, if it changes loans, you got to go in there and change what type of loan type it is. Okay, so the top 5 self-reported claims, which were at the very top thing, is closed to pending UCB CCBS status, meaning it accidentally got closed and they needed it to go back to pending UCB CCBS status, is my guess. Removal of photos. They're taking all the photos off and they're self-reporting that, I guess. Gosh, I know people sometimes don't want the photos left out there, but think about it, folks. If all of our sold listings had all the photos wiped out, how would you do your comps?
Wow.
So think about that before you wipe those out. I had somebody, a buyer, come to me on a listing a couple of years ago and want me to remove the photos. And I knew the buyer was a flipper, absolutely knew they were a flipper. And I talked to the seller and said, I think you should leave those photos up. It's not my call, right? And they said, no, leave them there. And sure enough, the buyer was trying to say that they had done more work. And they went ahead and put it in there. But if anybody looked at the photos, all they had to do was look back at the photos and see that they didn't redo part of the kitchen, right? But that's why they wanted them out of there. They didn't want anybody to see what it looked like before. So just, you know, take that with a grain of salt. Please be careful when you're doing that. Obviously, if there's safety reasons or something else, you know, talk with the seller to see if you can take them down. But for the most part, try to leave some up so we know for our future comps. Selling agent or co-selling agent, that does change. And so, you know, if that's happened and they have to call afterwards and get that changed, that's a self-reported thing. Closing info, not the sold price, all that other stuff, right? The loan, the concessions, all those things, those are self-reported. The original list price, oh, how many of you take a listing, have to throw a number in there because you take the listing, then you don't put it on the market for, I don't know, a month, 2 months, whatever, and you forget to change that listing number, or you put in something with a typo. This is a good one, right?
Yeah,
Let's sell the home for $53,000 and said $530,000, forgot a zero, and then all of a sudden it shows it was, you know, 100%, you know, I don't even know what that is, you know, 1,000% increase in price. And like, what? So I guess ARMLS can change that original list price. So I thought I'd share that with you. So there are, let's see, improvements. Let's see, reduction. Oh, the incorrect number was, so back in the day, you actually had to type the assessor number. Now you can click populate tax data button and it will move it over. That reduced the number of errors on the assessor number. Text or watermarks on photos and media errors reduced almost in half, because there was an improved resource page as well as subscribers being proactive, knowing that they could not put those watermarks or text on their photos. I believe it's, I mean, nice, there's a resource page. I believe it's subscribers really understanding that now. Self-reported improvements, selling agent or co-selling agent reductions decreased to courtesy notices, which notify both listing and selling agents of upcoming status changes, allows them to edit the data in real time. If you have a listing, if you've not seen this, if you have a listing, 10 days out from closing, you are notified that you have a listing closing in 10 days. 2 days out, you have a listing that says it is closing in 2 days. I don't remember if it says you have a closing today, but you do have it 2 days out. So it's, and it goes to both listing agent and co-listing agent. So both of them get those alerts to go look to see, did anything change? Did you shift from, VA, FHA, conventional? Are there new concessions, right? So you can go in and make those changes. That's good. All right. Yes.
So you said that, the photo, you can have one on what text you said?
Certain.
Oh, certain text. So for example, you could say virtual photo.
You do need to say virtual staging on the photo. I don't know that you have to have it on the photo, but you do have to have it in the description next to the photo. But you could put virtual staging on the photo. That's fine. You can't have something that identifies you or your company, right? Because think about it, the consumer is seeing you've sent your client a listing, right? It cannot show that it is your listing. Right? So it can't have your name or your company information. Now, the irony of that, of course, is if it's got the address, they could drive by and see your name and phone number and get all of it. But the point is that it's not delivered there so that they pick up the phone and call that listing agent directly to, hey, I forget my guy here. I just want to work with you, right? That's why it's not on all of the listing data that goes out. Because your agent, the buyer's agent has sent that listing on to somebody else. Does that make sense? Interesting. Photo removals increased, but there's no need to request the removal of listing media. Flex actually allows you to mark photos, floor plans, videos, and virtual tours as public, private, or private while off market. I never even knew that one. That's new to me. So when it goes off market, it will go to private. So again, keep in mind, that's what we use to do comps. So,
Also, potential clients out there are looking at your listing and
see what you did before.
one photo, and you spent $500 on aerial drones.
Well, a lot of the, not drones necessarily, but the virtual, the 3D tours, those usually last only 6 months anyway, unless you pay to extend them. That they only keep so long. If media is marked private, it will not be syndicated to public-facing sites. If your client has concerns about post-closing visibility, private while off-market is the recommended set it and forget it option. Media is visible in ARMLS and included in public displays while active and automatically becomes private once the listing goes off-market, eliminating concerns about media access after closing. So
Only had one request for that in 16 years. I mean, it's not really an issue.
I've had a request from a buyer, but I've not had requests from sellers usually to remove it. You will find that many of our luxury and ultra luxury listings are not even on ARMLS, and that's the reason is they do not want the photos of their property out there for public consumption. So that's part of the reason why a lot of that stuff is held in private listing status and not visible on something like ARMLS. So suggest you can continue to identify errors, send through the suggest and report a violation, share the information with your TCs as they're the ones that input the listings. So kind of interesting info there. How many of you do rental listings? Have you done this yet?
Well, no, I haven't, because
Not yet.
the one that
Oh yeah.
I'm doing, they don't want it on the MLS.
Well, that's
So that's a whole nother.
that's a little, well, it's not ARMLS anymore. It goes through Rental Beast. I have a listing, a rental that I have not yet transferred over to this and don't really want to, honestly. I've heard from many agents, they're very, very frustrated with this. I understand the reason for this is that it has more rental inventory than what was previously in ARMLS. So that is awesome. So apparently this started back in 2024. Anybody know about that? I didn't know about that,
No.
right? So, it was the apply now tenant screening, rental beast search, CMAs and more. Phase 2 was last month. It started. It's the add, edit, and the property management system syncs and more. So if you're trying to add a new rental listing, you have to go to Rental Beast after 3/24. Mine was already in there, so I have to edit it now, I guess, getting it over there. But phase 3, which is coming soon, will be adding vacation ready rental listings. Those are currently still in ARMLS. They will shift over to Rental Beast once they get that up and running. So
Does that filter out to Zillow and all the other?
so it's increasing the visibility of your listing and using nurturing tools, building relationships with future home buyers. I don't know because I haven't tried to put that in place yet with mine. Zillow, I keep having to reload my rental like every 2 or 3 weeks. It's like, is this still available? Is this still available? Is this still available? I mean, it keeps popping up going, please confirm, please confirm, please confirm. So I don't know whether this will get rid of that. It would kind of be nice if it did. So I don't know. So you have to apply now. Apply now is for applicants so that they can apply one application process. Easy to use tool generating screening reports within minutes. Now, I do not know anything about their screening reports. We obviously have our own rent. What's it called? Rent Spree is one of our partners with Realty One Group. You can find that in our one zone. Or you can go to places like my what is it? My something credit. I'll think of it. But that is an option as well that your landlord can set up an account for free. The reason I've always liked them is that the tenant can go in. You don't have to run down and get that $25 or $50 from them and then get that to your client, right? Because you somehow have to move that money, and the tenant is able to pay for the screening and background checks, the credit screening and background checks all online. And so it made it a lot easier.
I forgot the name of it, but that's what I use.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm blanking on it. My free credit or my credit something. It's through TransUnion. And Rent Spree is through another one. So they're all connected to these ID, your credit bureaus, right? And by having that, they're able to do a search. You don't have to send their social security number into the system. The system itself asks them questions. Which of the following 5 addresses did you live on? It gets harder as you get older, by the way. It's like, I don't remember. Like, and it says, and have you owned one of the following 5 vehicles? Like, really? So, but it's something that only that individual can answer theoretically, unless they've been on Facebook answering all those questions on Facebook, all the places they've traveled and places they've lived. Those are all data generating, AI generating things to gather your data. Please don't play those, by the way. It's really not good. Because it's all giving all your prime info for credit bureau questions. So if you've ever look at them carefully and think about these questions you get on the credit bureau. So at any rate, this will have a whole Rental Beast University. It will have a search engine there for you to look for your clients if you are looking for rental property. And it does have lead gen and qualifying programs to help you service those tenants if that's what you're looking for. I would explore it if you're going to be doing much with rentals. It does have online and live training. However, there is an online course. I think it says coming soon. So it says see all available classes. I just don't think they're there yet. Is this the one that said? Oh, here. Yeah, they do have 2 of them. They have the add edit right now. So on 5/5 and 5/12, they have 3 o'clock classes online for the add edit features to manage your rental listings. It started on March 24th, so you can join these webinars. On their live webinars, it says you can click on that and register it 24/7. So in other words, they're recordings. Why that says live. Okay, so it is interesting though, because they have a lot of different places here. There are some blogs, so you can go look at different things on those. You can look at the status of a rental listing pretty easily. You can edit an active rental listing. These are some of the blogs that I guess teach you about how to deal with some of this stuff. How to using the apply now can decrease your days on market, meaning if somebody's looking at that property and they want to apply, they don't have to pick up the phone and call 16 people to figure out how to get an application. They literally can click a button and apply right then and there. So that is a benefit if you've ever worked with tenants. So again, that apply now in Rental Beast, searching rental properties in Rental Beast, it shows you how to search for those. I did not break these down. I'm not going to go through this. You can go into ARMLS. These are slides literally from your ARMLS.com that will, if you want to look at this, it will give you a whole FAQ page with a whole bunch of information right now. So if this is something you're working on, you're working with rentals or, want to be able to get that data out there, this is information out there. So please take a minute if you're working on rentals. Now, oh, look, I'm right at the edge of the hour. For those of us that have been in the business long enough to remember when we lost our map tax program and they replaced it with Monsoon, there was an uproar. And here we go again. Monsoon's going away and Curb View is, she's sitting here going, IMAP used to be an incredible tax program, and so many of us used it for so many different things. We knew how to get in and around and everything with it. And Monsoon came in, and it was like getting a scooter instead of even a car with 4 wheels. It was like, come on. It has gotten much better. I don't want to say I love Monsoon. I've hesitated to move over to CurbView because I'm a statistics person. I want the numbers. I don't want the pictures. I'm trying to get the data. And so apparently CurbView has more data there than I've explored, but it is changing. It will be sunsetting at the end of this year. It will be phased out. So for 13 years, Monsoon came and took over the IMAP, which still many of us were like, so it says CurbView delivers everything Monsoon provides and more. Public records information from the county assessor, recorder, and treasurer, along with MLS data in a modern web and mobile interface designed for you and your clients. More information will be coming in April. Wait, aren't we done? We're done with April? So, okay, but it is sunsetting, so please watch for more information. They are recommending you play with CurbView now to learn more. And so they have learned more about CurbView. There is training on it on ARMLS.com. Who has not taken that training? But we'll go out there and learn it because that's what we're going to have to do. And that's where I do all my data searches for, well, it's on Flex, but it's through Monsoon. So we're going to have to learn how to do that. There's a sunset challenge. It says, be sure to check back soon. We'll be adding a short video. So they're trying to get you to do a sunset challenge. I don't know what the challenge is. It doesn't really say there. But they do say CurbView training. There's online courses, live training. CurbView is a mobile app, which I did not know. So you can get CurbView on your phone with a mobile app. So I'll have to add that to my phone. So anyone can actually visit CurbView to search and view property, but you have to log in using ARMLS for tax records and more. So when you're trying to get the sold data information, that you have to have the login for, right? So can you search? You can search by owner, but you can't see the previous owners unless you're in the property, and then you can click to look up more information from the deed and the history, right? So you can't search by a previous owner. Well, you've never been able to do that on Monsoon either. Okay, folks, how about that? And it is right almost on the hour. That's pretty amazing that I was able to do that way. I hope that was informative, and just remember you have to do your new online with ARMLS today with a new passkey or password. Go in and change your access so you connect to that properly. Any questions from anybody before I go ahead and stop this recording? Yes.
That's something unrelated. I don't know if you want to cover it after.
Sure, I'll cover it afterwards. Anybody online have any questions on any of this?
Thank you.
Good stuff. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good working today on ARMLS. Everybody go log in and get your stuff changed if you need to. Or if you're not on ARMLS today, don't get on today and wait another day to log back in, I guess. Oh yeah, change your password, right? Okay.